Welcome to One Brothas Mind, and I am KD Smooth. Today we will question and challenge popular information and views from a B1 perspective, while we expose the real facts you need. We do this to strengthen your logical, critical, and discerning thinking skills. Because in today's world, hard choices are mandatory and they come with consequences. So you need all the information. And at One Brothas Mind, we do this from a B1 Yeshua the Christ followers perspective. Now, if you're not ready, you better get ready with KD Smooth at One Brothas Mind. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's KD Smooth coming back at you with One Brothas Mind. Coming back, chop it up with you real quick to provide part 4 of the One Brothas Mind exclusive secure mobile raised gardening system. In this broadcast, we're going to provide you guys with the main supplies and tools that we used here at One Brothas Mind to create or put together this system that we have put on display for you in the previous videos, specifically in the secure raised bed gardening playlist here on the One Brothas Mind channel. So today we're going to briefly provide you guys with basically the resources. I'm going to literally show you what we purchased and give a brief explanations as to why we purchased and used what we used to create our system. So without further ado, we are going to jump right in. Again, this is the One Brothas Mind secure mobile raised bed gardening system part 4. This is an exclusive. No one on YouTube, on the internet, has put together a full system, a secure system like this, family, for you guys to consider building yourself and utilizing. The key feature is that the system is secure. It's a key feature. Don't miss that, family. So remember to like, share, and subscribe to One Brothas Mind, because we try to provide you with not only the information and facts you need, but also some solutions. And we here at One Brothas Mind feel that this secure mobile raised bed gardening system is a very, very good solution to, what's going on currently with all the shortages and how things seem to just continue to get worse and worse, and we need to be prepping. We need to be starting our own gardens, and not just starting gardens. Because if you put your garden just in the ground in your backyard or what have you, or you do a bucket garden and have your buckets on the patio, or you actually do raised beds on your property in your backyard, the feature that you have not done is you have not addressed your garden's security. And that's what this system does here, family. So if you have not viewed the previous videos, please, this is going to be a short video, but you can stop here or pause here, go back to video 2 and 3 at least, and watch video 2 and 3. And that literally shows you guys and lays it out. You actually watch me put the system together for the most part, and I show you how I utilize it, explain everything to you. Now, if you are starting your own garden for the first time and you need to also research some seeding information, how to do your seed trays, things of that nature, you can actually watch our funny video, part 1, which is our seed tray or seeding video for this series. It's a funny video because, family, as I've said before, the devil did everything he could to try to stop me from doing that seed video. I started that video in part 1 on a perfectly bright, shiny, clear spring day, and within about 5 or 10 minutes, if you watch the video, you'll see all that changed. It started blowing major gusts of wind, blowing all my supplies everywhere. It started raining. It was literally a nightmare. But I pushed through it on that video, and I at least got the seeds planted to give you some information on those, and we move forward. And so if you want to laugh, also watch part 1. But if you don't need any seeding information, you already know how to do that and what have you, just skip right over to part 2 of this series and watch 2, 3, and 4, and that'll finish giving you all the information. Okay, family? So here, first off, we're going to jump right in. I actually remembered the one extra seeding research information that I was struggling to remember in part 2 and part 3 of this series. I knew there was one more thing I wanted to share with you guys, and that's this, what's on your screen. Through my discovery and my process, one of the things that I learned is that you can drastically improve your seed sprout rate or sprout percentage if you actually soak your seeds first before you plant them into your seed tray, into your soil, wherever you are. If you direct sowing or using a seed tray, doesn't matter. If you soak your seeds first, you drastically improve your chances of that seed sprouting and growing. Okay. One caveat with that, with like the seeds you see here on your screen, these are very small seeds. The recommendation is you soak very small seeds like this for only approximately 30 minutes before planting them. Okay, because these are small. They don't need to soak up a whole lot of water. They just need a little. Okay, but if you have larger seeds, depending on what you are specifically trying to grow, if the seed itself is a pretty nice, like think of a green bean seed, in contrast. If it's a nice size seed, nice big seed, you don't have no trouble seeing it or handling it, those seeds, it's recommended to go anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours of soaking just prior to planting. So that's a good tip that I ultimately researched and learned, and it actually proved to be true. I definitely get a higher seed sprouting yield from the seeds that I soak first, then plant, versus the seeds I just stick in the soil and water once I've already planted them. So wanted to share that with you quick. I knew I would remember it. I didn't until after I ended those first 2, or the second and third video in this series. So I definitely wanted to make sure I got this in. Okay, now moving on. Now we're going to cover the actual supplies for the secure mobile raised bed gardening system here at One Brothas Mind that I used, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail as to why I used them. On your screen, you see the actual gorilla carts, the main big carts that you saw in video 2 and 3. And again, if you have not watched video 2 and 3, definitely you see this one in video 3. Go watch video 3 first. I mean, you're out of order. Go watch 2 and 3 first, then watch this video if you're interested in seeing and getting information on the supplies that I use. Okay, but this is the cart that definitely was prominent in video 3, where I showed you guys I had a plastic liner laid in this cart. I did my soil mixing in this cart and everything. And then ultimately I put 8 5-gallon buckets in this cart. Now, what I want you guys to focus on, and I mentioned it in video 3, is one, the length of this cart, how long it is, and then the width of this cart. Because I know a lot of you will watch video 3 and seeing the cart and the setup that I put together and was like, oh man, that cart's too expensive. I can get a smaller cart and do the same thing. Yes, you can. But most of the smaller carts, the width is about 21 or 24 inches. Okay? So if you get a smaller cart trying to save money and you get one to say, let's say 24 inches, and you go to put your, let's assume it's the same length. You go to put your 8 5-gallon buckets in the cart, just like I did. As I explained in video 3, your buckets are going to all be smashed together, touching each other on all sides. So that means your actual plants are going to be closer together in a smaller cart, a cart that's only like 24 inches wide. Now that's okay while your plants, you just planted and your plants are small, that's no problem. But once your plants get to about 3/4 growth size, your plants being that close are going to start growing into each other, basically. All right. And then you're going to have a whole new problem because you're not going to be able to keep those buckets in that smaller width cart with all your plants growing into each other, because now they're stunting the other plant or each other's plant's growth. So now you got a whole nother problem. You got to start removing buckets, trying to do all kind of extra things. And if you actually purchase a cart that's at least 34 inches wide, you have far less of that problem. That's the point of the 34 inches in how wide the cart is. You got your buckets have plenty of room. Also, in regards to the 52-inch length of the cart, family, I researched carts for almost 2 years. This is the longest length cart that I could find that was the cheapest that I could find. Yes, there are carts that may be 60 inches or whatever longer, but every one that I found are all way more expensive. So I didn't want to do that. And then yes, there's carts that are cheaper than this, but they're not as long. Okay, and the length, I try to share with you guys with that issue in video 3. Also, I have 4 buckets on one side, 4 buckets going down the second side, inside the cart. When my plants, I'll put it like, that's all the room. As far as length, the buckets are touching each other. Just like I described in reference to how wide the cart is and why you don't want to do that. In this setup, in my setup with the 52 inches long, as far as the length of the cart, my buckets, 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, are actually touching each other. And again, that's okay while your plants are small. But when my plants get approximately 3/4 of the way of their growth, okay, I showed you guys in the video, in video 3, what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally take 2 buckets, the last 2 buckets on the very end of my cart, the opposite end of the handle. I'm going to physically pick those buckets up one by one and take them and set them on the ground outside of the cart. Then I'm going to further separate the remaining 3 buckets on each side so they all have plenty of space and room to grow. I'm only going to remove those buckets after I have positioned the cart, whether it be in the sunlight or in my garage where it's secure. Basically, once I'm done moving the cart where I want it to be, that's when I'm going to remove the buckets and reposition the buckets that remain in the cart, and that's how it'll stay the whole day. Then when I go to take my garden and put it back in my garage, I'm going to push the buckets that are inside the cart back together, pick up the 2 buckets that I set on the ground and set them back inside the cart. Roll the entire cart back into my garage, park it, and then do exactly the same. Take the last 2 buckets, again, lift them out, set them on the floor of my garage, separate the buckets that remain in the cart again, so everything has all the space that it needs. But those are I'm only going to be moving 2 buckets, not all of them. Whereas if you get a smaller cart that's not at least 52 inches long, you're going to be moving more than just 2 buckets at a time once your plants are near full grown. And that's a lot of extra work, y'all. The more buckets you got to move and adjust, the more work you got to do. I tried to, again, I did find a 60-inch cart, or I really wanted a 72-inch cart. So my buckets had plenty of room and I didn't have to move any buckets. But all those carts were far more expensive than this one. So I ultimately accepted that adjustment when the time comes to try to save money. Okay, family? But this is, you see, I got this cart from Menards. These carts are also sold at Lowe's hardware store. These same carts, as well as sometimes you can catch them available on Walmart's website as well. And there's a version, it's no longer in stock currently as at the time of this video, but there's a version on Walmart's website that's a couple dollars cheaper. So if you can catch it in stock, you might be able to get away with it. But I will say, between the different like Lowe's, Menards, and Walmart, whatever, if you think you want to say, well, I'm going to try to get the cheapest one I can find, you can. The difference in the money, you don't get the exact same cart. I mean, in theory, it is. It's the same measurements and all that. But where the difference comes in the prices is the assembly, how it's put together. It's not a drastic difference. It's just a few different types of bolts and washers and screws, a few different types of connections here or there. The handle is put together just slightly differently. Little subtle adjustments like that. Of the ones that I got, because I got one from Menards and I bought one from Lowe's. Okay. The one that I spent the most money on, which was the one from Menards, after putting both of them together or assembling both of them, the most expensive one, the one from Menards with the yellow gates, was the easiest and smoothest to put together, to assemble. The one from Menards was still pretty easy, but I definitely seen the difference between the two. Okay, it's not that the one from Lowe's is horrible or not like that. I'm not saying anything like it. It's just fine. It's just that, the company Gorilla Carts seem to have, as their versions come out, they make subtle assembly improvements. And the one that I got from Menards, I believe, was kind of like the latest, most current model. So I had all the assembly improvement updates to that one. That's all. But other than that, everything, both carts were fine, as you guys saw in the video. Okay. So that's the carts that we use. That's why we use them. If you decide to try to put this system together in smaller carts, you are on your own with the trouble that you run into. Now, if you're growing really small plants that are not going to get very big in your buckets or whatever, a smaller cart may be just fine. So that decision is on you. Don't send me no emails, kind of try to, or nothing like that, or put no post talking about you tripping and this, I did this. And no. If you buy carts other than these Gorilla carts, that especially ones that are smaller, hey, what you end up running into with your system, is on you. Okay? These are what Katie Smooth recommends here at One Brothas Mind. And only these. There's no other manufacturer or brand of carts that have carts that I found that are the exact same size as what you see on your screen. Couldn't find any. I looked hard because I was still trying to find carts that were the same size but cheaper, and I could not find them. Okay, family? So we're going to move forward here and go into the next cart that we use. If we're having a little technical difficulties after this video post, I will make the adjustment and repost this video, because it looks like my internet is having a little bit of trouble, but if it gets through, then we'll be fine. So the second cart, actually you can't see it here, but I purchased this wheelbarrow cart that I planted my potatoes in, that I showed you in video part 2. I put this cart in, or I purchased this cart from Lowe's. Now Menards has a cart similar to this, and you can find other similar carts. This is a 5-gallon or a 5.5 gallon wheelbarrow plastic cart, family. So it's a little more than twice the size of a 5-gallon bucket. Okay. And as you can see on your screen here, the interior, most of the interior, you get the full depth of the cart for your plant, or your potatoes in my case, to grow into. You get the full depth. Okay. Except for these little wheel mounds here. Other than these little wheel mounds, you got all this depth here. Now, other carts, you're going to notice if you look inside of them, the wheel mounds and configurations are a little bit different in each small wheelbarrow cart. So you want to have your carts with the most depth area for your potatoes or whatever you plant in, so your roots have plenty of room to grow down into the soil. Okay, that was the reason why I selected this. And this as well is a Gorilla cart, but it's a Gorilla cart sold by Lowe's Hardware. Okay, so yeah, that's the wheelbarrow carts. That's why I picked them. I looked at, doing my potatoes in 5-gallon buckets, and after researching, it was like most of the people that were trying to grow large size potatoes, they preferred to plant their potatoes in containers larger than 5-gallon buckets. That's point number 1. Point number 2, there was a limit or a maximum size as far as the container that they would plant their potatoes in. It's like you can't get a big old dumpster or a big old huge cart and plant some potato plants in, or a potato plant in, and think the bigger cart you have, the bigger potatoes you're going to get. It doesn't work like that. I can't explain it why. They can't explain it. It's like you got to find the sweet spot in regards to the size of your container. It needs to be bigger than a 5-gallon bucket if you're going for large potato sizes, but it doesn't need to be extremely big. Because at a certain point, your cart is just too big, and it's not going to affect the size of potatoes that come out. Okay? So that's the information on the potato cart, family. All right. So in addition to that, we are going to move forward to the next supply. These are the 18-inch, as you see on your screen, not the 13 inches on the left, but the 18-inch stack pots that I purchased that I showed you in video part 2. These are them. This entire 5-level stack was $70, or it is. I literally, at the time of making this video, it's $70 for those. Okay. And I explained to you guys, I went higher than 5. I actually ended up buying 3 of these stacks, and then I split the third stack and added them so I could go higher than, as you see on your screen, of 5 stacks. I went 7 each. Okay. So these are these stack planter pots or vertical pots. These are the ones that I purchased. Now there's probably 3 or 4 as of today, other actually brand names of Mr. Stacky is one type vertical stacking pot systems out there. My focus was to try to get the stack pot systems that had the largest actual, the little cup, as you see on the screen, or the, let's say not little, but the cup area where your plant is actually going to be growing and sticking out of. I wanted the largest cup area that I could find. Okay, because while I'm not just growing a little small seasoning or nothing like that, I'm actually growing green beans and giant onions in mine. Okay, or at least attempting to. So I wanted to have the largest plant, I'll call it the cup area, of these stacky type pots that I could find. Okay, and if I select it correctly, because I remember I was trying to decide between these that you see, these generic ones that you see on your screen, versus the Mr. Stacky pots. And if I did my research correctly, both these and the Mr. Stacky pots, as far as size, they both were 18-inch or 64 quart size. Okay, so that's why I was like, okay, if they're the same size, I'm gonna just go ahead and buy the ones off of Amazon. Now, like I shared with you guys in video part 2, the pots that I purchased, they actually had 3 drain holes in them. And it doesn't show you that on the Amazon listing that you see on your screen when you go to Amazon. It doesn't really fully show you that there's 3 drain holes in each cup, at the bottom of each cup, like I explained to you guys. So I didn't know they had that many drain holes in them until I got them. Then, without having previous experience, I went ahead, like I showed y'all in video part 2, I went ahead and filled them up with my soil. And after I filled them up, put my plants in and everything, and then I watered them, all my water came just flying out the bottom of each of these cups like it was a water faucet. I was like, wait a minute. If the water is draining out of these pots this fast, there's not going to be enough water or moisture that remains in the soil in each cup to feed the plant. So, I went into more detail of that as to what solution I came up for that, but you're going to have to go watch video part 2 of the secure mobile raised bed gardening system to get the solution that I came up with. I show you exactly what I did. Okay, family? And explain what, if you get these, what you should do before you put your soil in the pots. Okay? So you're going to have to go to part 2 to get that information. But this is the stacky pots that I selected. Now, if they work out great for me, fine, I'll keep using them, no problem. If I'm not happy with how things come out and work out, I may, at a later time, look for a different set of stacky pots, a different brand name, and give it, that are kind of designed a little bit differently, and give those a try. We'll see. That's kind of where it's at. So we'll see how things come out. But these are my stacky pots. Okay. Then I mentioned to you guys, as a part of my security layers for my setup, okay, I mentioned to you guys that I'm going to be adding privacy screening to the both sides of my backyard to create or fully create the full, my backyard to be fully encompassed by, or be private, basically is what I'm trying to say. Y'all saw in my video part 2 and part 3, I have a little brick decorative fence that was installed for my backyard. I'm not going to take that out and put a whole new fence in. That's a whole lot of extra money. I'm just trying to accomplish increased privacy. So I found these privacy screens that are available, and you can purchase them. You can literally buy them by specific sizes, or you can even order them to a custom size to fit your exact need. Okay. And then, as you see in the image on your screen, you just got to install basically like fence poles on each end, and then it just install or wraps around each pole on each end, and then the privacy screen is up. It's just that simple, and they're not crazy expensive. Like the one that's advertised here is 8 feet by 50 feet. So this one is 8 feet tall, and then it stretches 50 feet in length for $90. And like I said, they have some preset sizes that you can order, or if those sizes don't really exactly fit what you need, or you can't make them fit real good, you actually can order a customized size. They'll basically cut them and customize them to fit the exact size you need. Okay, now there's a little bit extra cost for the customization, but they'll do it. Also, as you see here at the bottom of the image, there are multiple colors that you can get these screens in. So you're not just stuck with white. Okay, yes, I may end up just getting a white ones because my decorative fence, it's also white, so to try to maintain the same color symmetry, I may roll with the white ones, but you can get black. I can switch to black. You can switch to whatever. The other color I'm really looking at is black, but you can use whatever color that you want. Now, one thing that I already know before even purchasing these, if I get black, that black is going to look good when you first put it up, but being out in the sun, outdoors all day, all the time, that black color most likely is going to fade after it's going to start looking more like gray. And you may get to a point once, depending on how bad it fades, you may not like the black anymore. But so that is the main reason. If I don't get black and I get white, that's the reason why. I don't want to go through that fade. But the white ones, I'm kind of in a toss up. They seem like they'll actually show a bit more dirt potentially. So I don't know, especially at the bottom, nearest the ground, nearest the dirt, seem like there'll probably be some dirt that's going, so, pick your poison, but these are the screens that I plan to purchase and install along my decorative fence that you see. And then, as like in this picture, like I said in video 2 or 3, after I put these screens up, I'm going to get just a basic video, 24-hour video surveillance little sign. The little signs you see at restaurants and other business. I'm going to get me one that's a, nice little, maybe about a foot long, at most. And I'm actually going to put at least one of those signs on the external or outside, hang it over the fence. So that when neighbors or Pookie, Karen, Darren, whoever are even thinking about trying to come over and see what's in my backyard, what I got going on, they're going to see that video surveillance sign. And that's another layer of security, like I explained, that's going to make them think twice about if they really want this smoke. Okay? If they want to risk having to end up racing hot ones or not. Okay, family? So, let's see here. And lastly, here's some of the supplies that I used for my indoor seed trays and my setup. I explained to y'all, I just got a little small clip fan and position that near, not real close, but you pull it back some. It's got to be away from your plants a little bit, but just not too far away. You want that airflow. You want your plants to be able to feel that breeze. Not too heavy, not too soft, but kind of just right. You got to position it just right. And that helps your seedlings, when they sprout, that helps them immediately start developing the strength to withstand the wind when they're outdoors. Again, this is only if you start your seed and seed tray indoors first, which is in my first attempt here. This is exactly what I did. You don't have to. You can wait until the weather changes in your grow zone area and you get the right temperatures, and then you can literally just direct sow in your ground, in your mobile beds, however you want to do, but you can direct sow. It's just that a lot of people, we try to do seed trays and get a head start. You can get extra maybe 6 to 8 weeks of grow time head start if your seed trays are set up and work well for you. So that shortens the amount of time till your harvest for your first plants, your first crop, if you will. Okay, these little indoor lights. Okay, if I had to do it all over again, I may not buy this specific set of lights. I may try to look for, a light that, instead of just being little light bars, I may look for something that's more like a, if y'all think of when you look up on some buildings, there's a big fluorescent light, and it's about maybe close to a foot wide, or some kind of a light that's a grow light, but it's a light that has that kind of coverage. But I started off with these, just being inexperienced and dumb. I was like, there you go. And I literally set them up just like you see in the picture on your screen, which is the absolute wrong way to set them up. Okay. Like I explained in, I think it was in the second part 2 video at the beginning. You can try to use grow lights like this of any kind. You just, instead of positioning them like you see in the picture, you literally have to move the lights all the way down to the very tip top of your plant. So where they're pretty much are right, almost touching the light when you're dealing with your seedlings. And before your seeds actually sprout, these same lights need to be all the way down till about 2 inches before above your soil in your seed tray, your seed cups. They need to only be about 2 inches above it, so that when your seeds are getting maximum grow light that they need. But then when they start to peak out, like I explained, they're not gonna stretch abnormally trying to get more grow light. The light's right there. Okay? And then as your new sprouts grow up and they start touching the lights at the tips, then you just move these lights, sticks or whatever lights, you just move them up about another 2 inches as they grow. And you just keep making that adjustment. Move up another 2 inches, wait so many weeks, let the growing happen, move up another 2 inches. You just keep doing that until it's time to transplant into your other pots and transplant outdoors. Okay. Lastly, this is the water filter. There's a bunch of different kinds of water filters that they have, family. Basically, pretty much just pick one. Your water hose is what I'm getting at. The water hose filter, garden hose filter. You pretty much just pick one. I mean, you can do a little research on them, make sure they have a certain amount of filtration and all that. But as long as they have a reasonable amount of filtration, just pick one, because you're just trying to filter out, most of the harmful things that are in your regular tap water. You don't want to be really putting that stuff in your plants, feeding your plants that stuff, because it may start causing other growing problems. Okay. And again, family, if we're having technical difficulties and things are breaking up and this video is real choppy, I'm actually, I've already decided I'm going to re-upload this entire video here in a moment when my internet connection stops being real janky. And you're going to get the whole video without any of the chop parts and all that good stuff. Okay, family? Okay, other than that, I showed you guys in the videos, part 1, part 2, part 3. I showed you guys the soil mixture I used. That's pretty much it. Oh, I forgot. One additional thing. I didn't put their site up on your screen. I don't know if I can do that. I probably can, but I actually purchased my seeds that I used, like my giant kale, my giant cabbage, my bush beans, my giant onions, tomatoes, and pepper plants. I purchased all of those seeds from a company and a website called Baker Creek. B-A-K, let me get the spelling right for you real quick. Just a moment. Let me get the spelling right. Yeah, it's B-A-K-E-R Creek, C-R-E-E-K, heirloom seeds. But you can just put Baker Creek seeds, and you're getting or purchasing heirloom seeds. Now, if you don't know what heirloom seeds, what those are and what the purpose of those are organic seeds, non-GMO. Okay? So they have not been modified, okay, in any way. They're natural seeds. And hopefully y'all already understand why you really want to do that, as opposed to getting all these hybrid, modified GMO seeds. Basically, if you buy a seed just from anywhere, or the little plants at your hardware store or whatever, those mostly are all, unless they say heirloom, they're all GMO seeds and plants. So you're basically growing the same stuff that you're getting out of the grocery store. But if you actually purchase heirloom seeds or heirloom seeds, you're growing that, whatever it is, in its natural state. It has not been manipulated. It's organic. Okay? So that's an extra little tip there. Baker Creek, and I ordered them online, and they sent me, it didn't take but a couple weeks, from the time I ordered them, I received my seeds in the mail. And Baker Creek was kind of cool. They added an extra surprise pack of seeds in the seed orders that I placed. I've actually ordered two seeds from them. They sent me an extra little pack of not the regular kind of carrots, but a little pack of carrot seeds for free, and a pack of special kind of lettuce for free, as a part of, it's like a bonus. If you order over a certain amount, they'll send you a bonus pack of seeds. So that was kind of cool. I didn't plan any right off, but I eventually will try them out and see how it goes. But that was kind of cool. And now, you want to try to, whether you're going to do a seed tray and do indoor seedlings and plants, or you're going to just wait till your temperature is right and do direct sow your seeds, your choice. But you want, as far as purchasing your seeds, if you want to buy your seeds from somewhere, you know, and trying to get organic seeds, you want to buy your seeds early in the spring, like when it's still kind of cold outside. You don't want to wait till it gets all nice and warm, because every source of seeds, they only have a certain amount of seeds available. And if you wait too long, you're going to be trying to order stuff, and some of the seeds that you're trying to order, they're going to be out of stock. So another tip, order your seeds earlier in the year, like in February, early March. February would be best for most grow areas. Okay? So that's it, fam. I believe I covered everything. I wanted to do a quick video just to go over the main supplies that I used. Y'all saw my soil mixture. I showed you guys that. Now I've showed you guys, you know, the actual carts and the cost and what have you. And like I said, you don't have to start out with the number of carts or how many I started off with. You can just get one or two, you know, and start smaller. Okay? And, you know, get an extra cart when you can. You know, but the one thing you have to do, you got to clean your garage out and make room for this system, for the secure part to work fully for you. You got to clean your garage out. Okay. And then for those that are in apartments and are, well, yeah, just in apartments, if you're on the first floor of your apartment, and you have a patio with a 6-foot privacy fence around it, you already there. You ain't got to do the mobile part, the cart part. You can just do a bucket garden right there on your patio. The key is the security. And I explained to you guys, instead of fighting with your landlord about putting a padlock on your patio fence on the door of that, and having them cut it off every so often, just go buy a pack of pull ties, the little plastic pull ties, and put your nice zip tie, is another word they call them, but put your nice zip or plastic pull tie on your patio door to basically lock it closed. And, you know, can't nobody just walk up and just grab it and open it, because it's got that pull tie on it. But when your landlord, for whatever reason, needs to get into your patio to check the electric meter or whatever, they can literally just cut that pull tie with a pair of scissors. Get in, do what they need to do, and then when you come home and you see your gate has been open, you know they had something they had to do, you can just come right out, put another pull tie right on it, pull it tight, and move on. And your gate is secured again, which means your bucket garden is secured again. Okay? For those that live in apartments and you live on the second floor or above, and you have, as I explained to y'all, you have a balcony, especially balconies that have no external access. Okay? And now what I mean by that, they don't have a stairwell that leads down from your balcony to the ground. Okay? There's no stairwell. Some balconies are like that. But if there's no stairwell, then hey, your balcony is already secure. You can just start you a bucket garden right away, or use the stacky pot or stack pot systems and grow a whole bunch of food right there on your balcony. You know, yeah, can somebody that is real crazy get a 20-30 foot ladder and put it up over and lay it on your balcony and climb up that ladder and get your stuff? Yeah, if that's with anything. If somebody wants to steal something, if they want it bad enough, there's ways to do it. Even if somebody break into my garage, there's ways to do it. But what you want is to have, you know, some layers of security to make it more difficult, or make it more of a risk for them of getting caught. That's what you're after with the secure system part. Okay, family? And even on whether it's your patio or your balcony in an apartment, you can still put a video camera system and install it right there. I mean, I don't think you can like drill it into your wall or nothing, but you can. There's double-sided tape. There's all kind of stuff, things you can do to not damage the property of the apartment community, but still put up a video surveillance system, a Ring doorbell type system, and do exactly as I explained in video 3, and add that extra layer of security that way. Okay, so there you have it, family. Like I said, if this video is all chopped up and jacked up, it may be because my internet is tripping right now. If it is, I'm just going to re-upload this entire video for you guys in its entirety here shortly, and you'll be able to check it out then. Okay, I think that's it. If there's anything else that I realize I've forgotten or whatever, I'll just add it to part 5. And for the most part, part 5 will be just a quick update to show you guys progress of my garden, my secure mobile raised bed garden, and see how things are going. And like I said, if I forgot something, I'll add it to that video. And then ultimately my goal or plan is to actually also show, videos or do some videos on harvesting the food that I've grown and how I'm going to harvest it specifically and store that stuff so I can utilize it, me and my family, as we need to. Okay? So again, family, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to One Brothas Mind. We're trying to provide solutions, because the one thing that most people with their gardens or their garden videos and all that they are not doing, they are not providing a good security for their garden. And all that's going to happen is, as things get worse and worse for Karen and Darren and Pookie and them, okay, as they struggle more and more with all this inflation and unemployment and everything, and they don't have money for food to feed themselves or their kids, and the food banks are out, all that's going to happen is they're going to look across the fence into your yard, see your nice garden that you've planted in the ground, or your garden that you've planted in these nice, pretty, clean, set up raised beds on top of your ground, or you got a bucket garden on your patio. They're going to just look and see, like, okay, they're going to set a reminder in their calendar for so many weeks from now. Yeah, they're going to be like, when this alarm go off, I'm going to come right back over here to my neighbor house, because they food going to be ready to go. I'm going to get all the food I want in the middle of the night while they sleep. Why? Because nothing is secured for most people's gardens. But not with Katie Smooth. You're going to have to work to get Katie Smooth garden, Katie Smooth's food here at One Brothas Mind. If you get it still and you pass through all the work and you still breathing and everything, hey, more power to you. But it ain't going to be easy. Okay? So there you have it, family. Part 4 is complete. Again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And this concludes this broadcast, One Brothas Mind. We thank you for joining us. And as a part of the new Black media, B1 choices are mandatory, and being on code is required. But never fear, Yeshua the Christ is with you always. Shalom.